yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Born and dead, saved by love, count my blessings from above. Though in darkness, have no fear. Light will shine on those holding near. They know that sorrow they will pass. For I know in this life there will be something. But remember that love, yes it will. Love will reign. Yeah. Love will reign. Yeah. In my heart, I believe it. Love will reign. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Have a vision, it's clear and plain. People living life, smiling again. Oh, see the children, they know no pain. Far from pressure, stress and strain. Oh, sorrow, they will pass. For I know in this life there's gonna be some pain. But remember that love, yes it will. I know. Yeah. Love will reign. Gotta believe it. In my heart, I truly believe. Sun will shine again, and love, I can hardly wait. We'll all be together. There'll be peace, peace, sweet peace, happiness and joy forever. Oh, yeah. One day, someday, hate will be over and love will reign. They won't last, for I know in this life there's gonna be some pain. But in the end, love will reign. Yeah. Love will reign.
Love will reign. And I'm excited to be here with you on another Tuesday's edition of Love and Stuff every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m., 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So whether you're watching us live from the Love and Stuff community page or the Marcus R. Holmes page or any of the love groups attached to those pages, whether you're watching us on YouTube events or Twitch TV or Twitter, take a moment, click share, and tag 5 of your closest Facebook friends, subscribers, connections, 5 of the more popular of your followers to join us in what I know will be a wonderful evening for you. So click share right now and settle in. And as they will say, don't touch that dial, because I want to share with you from a memorable moment in our Love and Stuff community with Valencia, who is known as Dr. V, Mama V in our community, sharing some important things. But out of that context, I want to talk to you about something very important in our day and time, in this month of September and in many months throughout the year, as people have pivoted out of the pandemic and are still experiencing after effects of the pandemic. Mental health is at an all-time crisis. And I want you to know that you are not alone, and that if you are feeling like you are in crisis, you're feeling like you are stressed out, you are overwhelmed, you are in breakdown mode, that the Love and Stuff community is thinking of you, and we want to connect you wherever you are around the world to resources that are going to help you regain your strength. Those of you that might be like me and are people of faith, we believe that the scripture is true. And it says, they that wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up on wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. And all of us need someone to help us to keep from fainting, to keep from drowning. And that's part of what we want to talk about tonight. I want to hopefully pierce your conscience about the people around you, to become more vigilant, more aware of the people who are suffering mental health crisis, of the people who are drowning in relationships, drowning on their job, drowning in their homes with their children, drowning in their churches, drowning all over the place. And they need someone to throw a lifeline. You know, I've said in times past that if I'm drowning and you can't swim, I don't expect you to jump in, even though it might be your first instinct. I expect you to call 911 or get someone who is qualified to help. But I want you to be aware that I'm flailing my hands and I'm not able to come above the water surface, that I need help. And sometimes I might not know that I need help. But I'm hoping that in our community that there are people who are awakened to, are sensitive to what's happening to the people around them, and can see when people are drowning. Do you know somebody today that is drowning? Don't watch them drown. Be a part of the help. So I decided that I would use as a springboard this um, these memorable moments from Love and Stuff, from a session that I had with Dr. Valencia Etner, and you can reach out to her and learn more about her work, from the Encourage Ministries and Bethany Ministries that she has, to refresh people in leadership in churches especially. But I want you to consider what your role would be in helping someone who needs help. At some point, we all need help. And we might do better if there's someone watching us who says, hey, you look like you need a helping hand. So I want you to tag someone who might be that person who needs to become more aware of their surroundings, of his or her surroundings, and might come to the knowledge that there are some people drowning, some people who need some help and assistance. I'm sure you can think of somebody right now, and all I'm asking for you to do is to just share with that person to consider whether or not they should get some help. It's Love and Stuff. I'm Marcus Holmes, the love activist, and I'm bringing in the first segment, and I'll be back to discuss more with you. Click share so someone else can join in the conversation and chime in the comments as to how you see your role when someone is drowning. This is a throwback to a time that Houston was literally underwater. And you're going to hear some of the steps that Dr. V took to help people there, but also she looked introspectively of steps that she had to take for herself, and that you and I should consider about our own self-worth when we feel that we're drowning. I again want to encourage you that if you feel that you're overwhelmed, you're stressed out, you feel like you can't take it, you can't make it, I want you to connect with us so we can get you resources to get you help, because you are not alone and we don't want to stand by and watch you drown. It's love and stuff. And I hope you will click share and have someone join us now. Good evening and welcome to Love and Stuff. We are live here on Facebook, and I am your host, your facilitator, Marcus Holmes, and it's a pleasure to be here with you. I'm going to start inviting some people before we get started with what I hope will be a wonderful evening of time spent with you. I appreciate your coming to Love and Stuff each and every week, and bear patient with me. I like to invite people to try to get a nice rounded group of folks who might be interested in participating and becoming part of our Facebook community, our Love and Stuff community. I'm so thankful to have the opportunity on Tuesday nights that you would come. I hope that you will come and share and get involved and talk with us on Love and Stuff. I think it's just a wonderful opportunity to do it, and so I invite people to come and join us on Love and Stuff. So I hope that you will bear patient with me as I am inviting folks to Love and Stuff. I'm hoping that you will come back and join us each week on Tuesday evenings, typically around 8:15, 8:30ish. We get Love and Stuff going, and so it just wouldn't be the same without having you here joining us on Love and Stuff. So I'm going to just invite a few more folks, and I hope that you will bear patient with me as I do so. And you will join us if you are able to join us on Love and Stuff. Inviting a few more folks. Thank you for your patience. So I go down the list and invite some folks to Love and Stuff. Tons of folks. Good folks. Great folks in our Facebook community. Appreciate you so much for coming to Love and Stuff. I really do. Every single one of you. Bear patient with me. I am going to wrap up inviting people in a few seconds, and then I'll have an opportunity to see who has joined us on Love and Stuff. Thank you for your patience. Almost there. All right. Let's see who's joined us on Love and Stuff. All right. Got some folks on Love and Stuff. Wonderful. David Stewart is here. Jocelyn Smith is here, my cousin. Thank you so much for joining Love and Stuff. Jan Holmes Boyd is here. Murdy Kearney is here. Aria Moody is here. Elizabeth Carroll is here. Wonderful to see you. Tammy Baker, my niece, is here. Staffy Blakely is here. Hey. Tammy says, hey. Marcus Remy LeBeau the Poe is here. Hello, Carol. Eric Sanders is here. David Stewart is here. Robert Bass, my cousin, is here. Kyron Evans is here. Hello. Hey, hey, hey. I'm so glad so many of you have joined us. I am anxiously awaiting my guests to join us. I'm going to use the Facebook. You are all part of the Facebook community, but I have a special guest who is going to be featured in part of our discussion tonight on the Facebook community. Of Love and Stuff, and I'm just waiting for her to join us here. I talked to her a few moments ago, so I'm sure she's gonna be popping in any second. Tracy Green has joined us. Thank you. Rashida Williams has joined us. I'd say Graham in my mind. Took you back years. The Glam Doctor. Let me say it that way. Hi, Tracy. Guest is here. So it's not telling me to have you join me, though. I'm asking you to go live with me. Okay, got it. And so we've been talking about in our Facebook community over the last few weeks as we watched in disbelief to some degree of the events of Hurricane Harvey and its adverse impact on the Houston, Texas region and area. As you may know, Valencia Edner, who is homegrown Detroit, Michigan, is also part of our Facebook community here in Love and Stuff. As often as her schedule permits, she joins us. And so, Carmen, we're going to get to all kind of topics. I like that you called out a topic. Typically, I go to the inbox for the topics, but I haven't sanctioned that we're going to talk on that topic, but that is a topic that we may or may not discuss. But thank you for suggesting that topic so openly. It's not tonight's discussion, though. Valencia Etner is a pastor in Houston, Texas, Miles Chapel CME Church. It's the church that I asked you to go online and support because she was on the front lines, is on the front lines, helping with recovery, the road to recovery. And I wanted to talk to her because this to me is also related to love. And let me tell you why I see it. Because if you love me and you see me drowning, now I don't want you to jump in if you can't swim. That might be your first instinct if it's your child but if you love me and you see me drowning, I want you to find someone that can swim, call somebody that can handle emergencies of that nature, or throw me a lifeline. But when you love, your love should not let you be complacent and watch other people go through. And people struggle with that, saying, well, how can God be love and watch what's happening in the world happen? So I wanted to bring Valencia on and talk to her a little bit about that love, and then she's going to share some love lessons with us. Celestine Todd is here. Stephen Bennett Jr. is here. Wow, thank you, sir. Carmen's laughing. Nick is here as well. So I'm going to bring Valencia Etner to come live with me now. I want her to come live with me now. Welcome to our platform, Valencia Etner. And some people call her Pastor V. I'm sure she won't mind you calling her Valencia. Some of us call her Mama V, though she's not old enough to be my mama. I call her Mama V because she shared some, when I was younger, some life lessons and love lessons with me. Now she's adjusting her camera. You look beautiful. You don't. What you doing? You look beautiful.
No, I just couldn't get it to be still. That's all.
Oh, okay. All right. So welcome. You're already a member of our community, but welcome to Love and Stuff.
Hey, everybody.
Love you so much.
Love you.
And been thinking so much about you as you've been going through all of this. I'm calling it now the road to recovery.
Good. That's good.
So tell me, or tell us, share with us. I mean, I can only imagine because you were there in the throes of what was happening. I'm sure some people were trying to decide whether or not they would leave the region, stay in the region. What was that like? Was it chaotic? What was that like?
It was a mixed bag. There are some of us that really didn't get impacted as much as others did, but that was part of the difficulty when you talk about love and stuff. The loving others and then finding that they were going through what you were not going through, and so it was hard to not jump in there and say, what can I do to make it easier for you? We the church communities in the area and those who were ecumenical, and I guess that's the best way for me to put it. It didn't matter where you came from. It didn't matter what your religious background was. I've never seen what I saw that week. As people got rescued, no matter what's going on in this world, nobody cared what color the person was in the boat. Nobody cared what color, what religion the person was. Nobody cared if they have a habib on or whether they had on a pair of short shorts. They did not care because all that was rescue. So now that we're in the recovery phase, we have people that are trying to come from all over the place to try to give all these things and do all of these things, but nobody's asking what's the need. So
wow.
The things that I'm finding, as much as people are trying to love on us, we kind of need to know, people need to know what you need. And at this point, people have pulled everything they own out of their homes. They've yanked every ounce of sheep. People had floods up to 5 feet of water in their homes.
Wow.
And they had to get everything out, floors, tiles, sheetrock, everything before the mold set in. Because it's a hot, humid environment. It takes about 2 months to catch up with the situation. So people at this point are in shells. You know, even if people came to help put the sheetrock up, That's it. They have nothing else. All the furniture
Wow.
had to go. All the clothing had to go. All the everything. So while people think all people need is water, and they want to send these shipments of water and Lysol, and people are past that point. Now they need
Yeah.
some stuff in the house.
Yeah.
Now they need a Walmart gift card. Now they need
Yeah.
some some Target, some stuff to rebuild. So
Got it.
while there is a rescue period, this is how I put it. There's a rescue period, there's a recovery period, and now they're in the rebuild period. And
Wow.
what I need in rebuilding is not what I need in rescue and recovery.
Right.
So,
And so you had housed people in your church. Is that correct?
we didn't house people in the church, but what we did was we had a group of people from our the CME church is divided. For those of you who are in, my old family from the Baptist church, y'all listen to me for a minute. CME church is into Episcopal districts, and the Episcopal district that is in Georgia is called the 6th Episcopal District. And they packed all this stuff and all these people and students from Payne College, and they rode up here to help pull stuff out of houses, to help people get things together. And they're not the only ones. I mentioned them. The Mormons have been amazing. They packed up from Utah, came over here. They have done, because they do that. So they build their own stuff. So they came to yank stuff out and put stuff back up, and just people that, like I said, it doesn't matter where they come from. They've been here to do. And so what we did on last weekend, after that first wave was gone, people catch the first wave, but some people miss it. And then it's never enough on the first wave for them to do what they need to do. So we had, at the church, HEB came, Detroiters. HEB is the Texas grown supermarket. It's what old Farmer Jack probably was. I mean, it's
okay.
But it's huge. And so HEB came with trucks and brought food and cleaning supplies and everything that people needed. We had some left over when the 6th was there, and we just came and gave people what they needed. And tried to be a blessing to them, prayed with them, talked to them, found out what they needed, tried to give them some appropriate referral to places that could really help them, because as you know, all churches, everybody doesn't know what to do. And then we want to, it's a whole nother ball game. We'll talk about it a whole nother time. But then we want to bash churches who can't just say, let's go do this. And, for all of those who were bashing Lakewood and that kind of thing, Joe can't wake up this morning and say, let's go have let's go give people stuff. He got a board. He has a board to deal with. So that's a whole nother story.
We are taking a flashback from an important moment in time where you may recall from the Houston floods that have happened, and people were devastated during that time. And we're using that as a spring, if you will, for people who in this time of mental health crisis, that you and I should be pricked, should be ignited to be aware of those around us who are in need. I often say that if you see me drowning, don't jump in if you can't swim. Get some help and help me throw out a lifeline, for someone is drifting away. Someone is sinking today. And if you feel like you're sinking or overwhelmed or stressed out, feel like you want to throw in the towel, we want you to inbox us at the Love and Stuff community so that we can connect you with resources to help you to swim, to stay afloat, to stay aboard. And I thought it would be great to go back and have as a flashback to look at some of the things that were happening in Houston, to remind you that even the smallest things, the smallest ways, you can be of help. So before we go into the next segment, I just want to say hello to Vanita Smith and Elba Kai Hernandez, to Stacy Simon, Stephanie Bolger, Marlis Ward. Thank you all for joining on Facebook, and those of you that are on Twitter joining, thank you so much. We see you on YouTube as well. You have to drop your name in the comments. Trey Sam, thank you. At long time no see. Thank you for joining us. I hope you will click share, tag 5 of your closest Facebook friends, 5 of your more popular subscribers, followers on YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter, to join in this discussion because someone is drowning, just like those people were underwater in Houston in that time. Someone in your life today is overwhelmed, is stretched beyond capacity. And sometimes they don't even know it. They're just functioning, going day to day, trying to make it. But we have to be aware and awaken to the sign of their worth and our self-worth to help them to get afloat. I hope that you will click, share, and tag someone to join us as we go throughout these segments. It is important. I'm making a clarion call in the September month. I feel strongly that there are people who are worn out, not only by the pandemic, but especially by the pandemic. They have said goodbye to loved ones. They're continuing to say goodbye to loved ones. They're saying goodbye to homes. They're saying goodbye due to foreclosure, to jobs, due to layoff. Inflation is happening. So many pressures are happening. And if that is you, I want you to know, don't give up. There is someone who's ready to throw out a lifeline to you. And it might be your brother, it might be your spouse, it might be your parent, your sibling, it might be a coworker. I want you to be aware. Love is aware. Love is looking for ways to help. Love is not behaving unseemly, but it's seeking to help. It's seeking to be of service. And so your love must be aware. I'm calling a clarion call for your love to be aware, because someone needs to be saved from drowning and they feel like they're drowning today. I'm Marcus Holmes. This is the Love and Stuff community. I hope that you will click share, and we'll be right back with another segment. I just want to encourage you to join us in wearing a brand that matters.
What you wear says something about you, about who you are, what you believe, and what you stand for. So here in the Love and Stuff community, we wear the brand that we live, and we live the brand that we wear because we love the brand. It's all about increasing the amount of love in the world and upping our love game. And if that's what you're about, you should wear it too.
But we tried to be there, and we've tried to be a help to people and to refer them to people who could help them when we couldn't help them. And it's just been an amazing time to watch God touch the hearts of people. It's been it's truly been Love and Stuff in a whole nother.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to some of the comments and see if there are questions there, but I want you to be thinking also of, there are people who see this kind of devastation who don't know God, who don't believe in God, and they're wondering, what kind of God would we serve that would allow this to happen? And so I want you to address that, being a pastor who's watched it happen. But while you're going there, I'm going to go back and revisit some folks. Kim, God is My Hero Jones has joined. Estella Dawson has joined. Carmen says, do people have insurance? What's the percentage of those who don't? What's the city's plan on helping people rebuild? Good questions.
Okay. So what is happening is, you have to understand the devastation that happened here. There were over 180,000 houses that were flooded.
Wow.
Okay. So what the city has tried to do is to continue to house those. We still have people in shelters, people who had nothing. They're still in shelters right now, who had nothing and no one.
Wow.
There are, as I said, those people have come in from all over to help put things back together as best they can. And the city has been right on the front line with making sure they got alternative housing, putting people in hotels to get them out of the shelter as temporary transitional housing. But it runs out. There's only so many places you can put somebody.
Wow.
And so they moved a group of people who were still at the stadium. They moved them to a transitional house where they, it's still a shelter, but they moved them on Sunday and there were on Saturday. And they asked some religious leaders, they didn't ask us till that morning, so some of us were already in meetings, to come down and just be spiritual help, to be a word of hope to them when they're in that, in being in that situation. There was a part of that question I really wanted to answer, and I missed it. But I'll go back to the one you asked when you said that, you know, people are asking, you know, why would God allow this to happen? As bad as it was for us, by Wednesday of this week, everyone in the islands will be asking the same question.
Wow.
So I think we have to start looking at is how are we loving what God gave us? Because climate control is real. Climate issues are real. And I think that we have to really take a good look at what we've done to the environment. Michael Jackson tried to tell us. We weren't listening. But it's about, you know, God gave dominion, but he didn't say tear it up. He didn't say do what you wanted to do with it and hope that I was going to be able to regenerate it. Some of this we're going through, a 7.1 earthquake today in Mexico, killed 79 people. I mean, it's every day. So I hear you, LaShawn, and the islands will get hit twice. First with Irma and now with Maria. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
What I guess the word of hope is in the midst of all of this is if you're hearing me, if we're talking, if we're conversing, there's your hope because we're still and if we're still here, then we have the responsibility to love each other better so that if I'm out and you're in, we're in too. And we have to just, you know, and a lot of that happened. People have lost a lot. And then, you know, we were talking the other day about how family members have taken other family members in. And because they've taken other family members in, their lifestyles had to be adjusted. So everybody is feeling the pain of this, whether you had a house full of water or you took the folk in who had to get out. And trying to adjust to that kind of living. Now, that's another kind of loving stuff for you.
Yeah.
We coexist 8, 9 deep in
a
house where I'm used to there being 2 or 3 people in. So, you know.
Wow. Marcus Johnson has joined us. Dora Scott joined us.
Hey, Dora.
Naomi says, awesome. Kenyatta Roxanne has joined us. James Woodard has joined us. Rashida is saying, wow. Rochelle Collins has joined us. Carmen Evans says, how is the structure of the people housing? Let me pull it together. Hold on, let me pull it together. Kelly Alexander has joined us. Yolanda Day has joined us. Hugh Lake has joined us. Rodriguez Linson joined us. Charles Garner joined us. So Carmen says, do people have insurance? What's the percentage of those who don't? What's the city's plan on helping people rebuild? That was the other part of her question.
Okay, some people do have insurance, but it doesn't mean anything because if they didn't have flood insurance, because see, this flood hit in places where floods didn't always come. So
I'm jumping in. Dora Scott says, we love you, Pastor V.
I love you.
Alvin Wilkerson has joined us. Sandy Hudson, who lives in Texas, has joined us. LaShawn says, unreal. Ricky Cranford joined us. Howard Holmes, my cousin, has joined us. Vivian Pearson has joined us. I'm trying to just catch up, Dr. V. Pastor Starling, the great Dr. Valencia is in the house, he says. Earlene Smith has joined us. Jacqueline Holmes, Angela Allen, Leonard Forrest. Carmen says, what's the emotional state of the people?
It's varied.
Okay, I'm almost caught up. Keep going.
It's varied.
She said, it varied. So some are,
the deeper your faith, stronger your disposition. The weaker your faith, the harder it is for you to get through this. And then again, there comes our next angle of love and stuff. How do you love people through this whose faith walk is baby, who's not there yet? You know, get frustrated with them. One of the things we talked about in Bible study last week, because we were talking about what it really meant to be the Good Samaritan, and then how many of us end up being the innkeeper.
Wow.
So we talked about what it means to be an innkeeper and how frustrated do you get when the patient doesn't get well quick enough.
Wow.
And so how do you love people through the devastation of what has happened to them, how they process it, whether they can find hope in the midst of it, or whether they just say, I'm done. I went through Rita. I went through Ike. I went through this. I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm leaving Texas. I'm not going through this again. You got,
Right.
but they have nothing in which to move with. So it's a lot
Right.
of hurt.
Yeah. Wow.
Hey, Dr. Curtis.
Kim Jones says it's his plan, not ours. There's no way we could understand. That's where true faith is revealed. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And LaShawn says in the audience we get, you read faster than
Yeah.
me. I'm just trying to catch up. Hey, Leonard Forrest. Clarence, be prepared. Sanders has joined us. Thank you so much. Jerona Green has joined us. Hearts hurt even walking in faith, Naomi says.
That's my member. She's on here with us, so I'm trying to get her to be in Love and Stuff. But
oh, wonderful. Welcome to Love and Stuff, Naomi. Appreciate you. Joanne Ingram has joined us. See some of your folks from Detroit, homegrown. And Carmen says, wow. So I appreciate all of the work that you're doing on the ground. This is the love and stuff that you are. It wouldn't be like you not to be doing exactly what you're doing.
I saw a question I want to answer right quick if you let
Sure.
The week of the storm, I saw no racism. The week of the storm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It has returned in its own little places. Houston's a little different than a lot of places in Texas because it's probably the most diverse city in the whole country. Everybody's here, okay? But you can see it rearing its head again, especially because a couple of our very affluent areas got hit hard. And so when they all had to get on a boat, no matter how much money they thought they had, and go to those shelters with everybody else, you saw no hatred, you saw no bigotry. But they were,
come on, affluent.
But they were the ones who got picked up first, and they were the ones who FEMA paid first.
Wow.
And so what happens is that they begin to see that elitism come back, and they start to act it accordingly. So we're just praying that people remember. They remember that week, and that in that week you didn't care. You didn't care what black person picked you up in a boat, rowing down your street. So
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Reverend Perret is on here right now, and he's one of the pastors in the same area that I pastor in, Dominion Christian Center. So, hey, Reverend Perret.
God bless you. Thank you, sir, for working with us. Stacy Marcel has joined us. Deidre Willis has joined us. Dr. Deidre Willis, I think now. Rebecca Mays Martin has joined us. Carmen says, what the hell, what the Hades. Herbert Jenkins has joined us. Kelly Alexander said they have the complexion for the protection.
She's from Houston. She grew up in the church I pastor, and she's right. And it happens quickly because, I don't care what anybody says, zip codes still matter.
Yeah.
Because the people in Cashmere Garden, which is the area near Fifth Ward, are hurting. They're hurting because they have slumlords who didn't get stuff out soon enough. And so they're trying to bleach down their house every day to deal with the mold because the slumlord didn't get stuff out soon enough. And so, and it's not like they can pick up and say, well, I'm moving across town tomorrow, because they can't do it like that. So.
Wow. LaShawn says, I really appreciate your insight. Thank you.
You're welcome, LaShawn. Thank you all for caring so much. We're grateful.
Wow.
Yeah.
So talk to us about some of the messages of hope that you had that you were able to share personally with individuals. I'm sure you ran across a myriad of different families and situations, people without hope and in despair and feeling lost. And
let me tell you, I love Houston spirit. They may have had it on the inside, but they didn't show it on the outside. We have a slogan around here that they've been using since the hurricane that said Houston strong. And they really have been strong. I mean, people cry, people get fed up. Bureaucracy is bureaucracy. You want to get your house fixed. You made $2 more than you should have, so FEMA wants you to take a loan instead of giving you some money. Those frustrations come. But the next word I hear from them is, but we're going to make it. We're going to make it. We've been here before. We can get this done.
Wow.
So Houston strong is real.
This is a throwback from Valencia Etner on our show with us. Welcome this evening, wherever you're joining from. Thank you, John Willis, Pastor John Willis, Kier Coleman Ward, whose amazing song opens our show every week. Thank you, Kier, for being so kind and gracious to allow us to use it, to continue to use it. Nicole Baldwin has joined us, who is a new entrepreneur. You should support her. And we hope that she will send us some links so that we can share her content, her wonderful jewelry. Tanya Taylor from the UAW, all of the UAW people. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Sharon Myrick Tramiel, James Bell. Thank you all for joining. Click share. Tag 5 of your closest friends, 5 of your more popular ones to join us, whether you're watching us here on Facebook or YouTube events, Twitch TV, or Twitter. We hope that you will connect with some of your friends and connect them to this dialogue. Utilizing a memorable moment from the Houston times of flood that you may recall about people who were literally in the need of help. And I want to hearken to people like people who are colleagues to Tanya Taylor, who are in the UAW, who, as you have heard, the big three are preparing to strike and maybe have done some targeted walkouts and strikes. Are living some back. Some people who need to be working and don't need to be out on a strike, who they have tied in their self-worth into their jobs and careers. People who are feeling overwhelmed and still reeling from the pandemic, still trying to get back on their feet. People who are in foreclosure, people who are contending with inflation, people who are contending with mental health challenges, people who are contending with the loss of loved ones. We want you first to know that you are not alone, and the Love and Stuff community wants you to reach out to us via inbox so we can connect you to resources. And number 2, we want to spark and ignite and make aware. I'm going to say prick the hearts of those of you who have people around you, people on the periphery of your life who need to know that you can throw out a lifeline to them, that you have the power to save someone from drowning in their current situation of despair, devastation, bad news that might be coming, a health diagnosis, a health scare, someone who is stressed, someone whose parent is in the hospital who's just had a heart attack. That you and I can save someone from the sense and feeling and reality of drowning, that if we stand for what love stands for, we can seek to help those that are feeling as if they're drowning. I hope that you will take that to heart. And as we continue to watch segments from this devastation that's happening, I want you to see how it resonates in your own life, or maybe someone in your life is coming to mind who you need to call and check on, who you need to call and say, I love you, who you need to call and say, what do you need? How can I help you? So that you can help them float and get back to dry land. I hope that you will click share right now and tag some others. We're going back into our conversation with Ms. B, and I hope that you will continue to chime in this conversation, as some of you have begun to do. I hope that you will continue to do that. Continue watching right now.
But we tried to be there, and we've tried to be a help to people and to refer them to people who could help them when we couldn't help them. And it's just been an amazing time to watch God touch the hearts of people. It's been, it's truly been Love and Stuff in a whole nother.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think we should have grabbed the next segment. I hope, thank you for your patience with us. All right.
But we tried to be there, and we've tried to be a help to people and to refer them to people who could help them when we couldn't help them. And it's just been an amazing. So lean on God and your family. And if you decide to stay in it, then you will not have leaned on him and fallen with him. And
that's good.
That was real important for me, because sometimes we can call ourselves trying to get through a circumstance, trying to get through a situation, and we lean on the person who's really not stable enough. So when they fall down, you fall down.
So that instability for you was a very overt sign of his addiction. Are there other subtle signs? Are there other signs that, like I said, in retrospect, now you're like, that was a sign, that was a sign, that was a sign?
Control, needing to know where you are at every time, needing to be with you wherever you go. Basically, because he was afraid of himself. He knew if he weren't being watched, he would be, prone to go that way.
Yeah.
Watch patterns. People tell you who they are. We just don't believe it.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think we don't believe them? Why do you think that is?
We want the fairy tale. We all want, I don't care what a woman says, at some point in your life, you want the silver slipper to fit. And sometimes it just doesn't fit. And you can't make it fit. You can't be the evil stepsister and try and force your foot in the shoe.
Right.
The knight in shining armor may be a misnomer. It may really just be a fairy tale. And I hear you, Joy, but you don't have to end up with a nightmare. The problem is that we have a fairy tale because we have a misconception of what this thing is. So it's really not a nightmare, and if it is, most of the time we cause it. And we got to face that. We cause it by having unrealistic expectations. People are human.
And so some of the other subtle signs.
Hey, Minty. Some of the other subtle signs, I guess with the other situation, those subtle signs were inconsistencies. You're this way one day, but you're something totally different than the next day, which means that you don't ever know which one is authentic. And he'll say, well, I'm just having a bad day, but it keeps coming back and forth. So if it keeps coming back and going and back and going, it's a pattern. And again, patterns are your key. What's the pattern?
Okay. And then how do you, once you've gained enough evidence or enough to say, I love myself better than this, how do you sever it safely? How do you wind out of it safely? Did you have to sever it?
It's not easy. For me, the second situation, though it was a lie, was hard because I was in ministry. And I didn't know what the residual effect was going to be. So I didn't know whether you go along with the farce to keep the ministry straight, or do you tell the truth and then take the risk. But the reality is that if you live in the farce, you will bleed on the people.
Wow.
So
wow.
You have to face the realities. You have to face what it is, and you have to decide, can I live with this? Am I willing to try to live through this, or am I better off? And that's a whole nother discussion about divorce, and especially if I go back to the first one, who was not married. We were legally married. Do you leave because someone is crack addicted? I'll tell you how I ended up knowing that I needed it to be gone, needed to be done. I gave him an ultimatum that meant he had to go to rehab. He went to rehab, process with him, went to the support side for those people who were the family members and loved ones of those in addiction. Went through all of it, went through all of the processes. When it was over, he was fine for a few months, and then he went back to the races. And when he went back to the races, he went worse. to the races. Then he said, I'll go to a program somewhere away. I hear you, but when you're finished with it, you need to find somewhere to be, because this is the truth of the matter. There was no way I was ever going to be able to think that 15 minutes late wasn't a crack moment. And it's not fair to the person who's recovering that no one ever believes them. So it's best that you say, let's go our separate ways. I wish you well. You know, there's no animosity. We've learned, I've learned, you know, eventually I'll be better for it. But if you come back in this situation, I'm never going to trust you. And that's not fair for you while you're trying to be on the road to recovery, that you don't have any support system. So that's when I knew. Gotta go.
So amid that devastation, your rescue was to choose yourself. Is that a fair thing to say? Your rescue was to choose yourself.
My
rescue, you
couldn't
exist in the.
My rescue was to choose my faith.
Okay.
And my faith helped me find myself.
Okay. And so talk to me about, after the rescue, talk to me about the recovery. How do you recover? How does your heart recover? How does your trust recover? How do you date again?
This is the great story. This is the great part. This is the great story out of this. I was in California. After that was over, I went and spent the Christmas holidays with my aunt and her family in California. And we went to church on one Sunday. And, you know, I believe in the prophetic. Usually nobody bothers me. So I usually am watching. But the preacher who was there that day came to me and he said, stop being mad at God about your mother being dead. That's the first thing he told me. And the second thing he said is, don't go to Mara. Don't go to a place called bitterness. And it slapped me upside my head. And so my prayer from that day forward was, God, no matter what happens to my heart, don't let me land in a place called Mara. And God has been faithful. Through all of this, I've never landed in a place called Mara. My lessons, I got the lessons. My radar goes up. You know, I get that, but I've never landed in a place called Mara because I never wanted my heart to not be open to the people of God. Because if your heart's closed to love, it's closed to love.
Say that again.
If your heart is closed to love, it's just closed to love, no matter where it comes from.
Wow.
So you can't say, I love you, Jesus. I love you, God. I love my family. And then say, but I can't love another human being. Because when you're closed to love, you're just closed to love.
Wow. I love that. And Alberta has joined us. Jimmy Burnett has joined us. Kamal Williams has joined us. He's also in Texas.
Hey, cousin. Hey, James.
Lori Westby has joined us. April Henson. I'm going back. Jawan says, love yourself is my takeaway. Okay. Wonderful. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about them rebuilding. Have there been any other relationships since? Dating, courting?
We're pulling from the throwback an opportunity to use as a springboard how you might save someone from drowning. And one of the things that Mama V, Dr. Valencia Etner, is saying here is that sometimes you have to save yourself by choosing your faith, choosing yourself, instead of the inconsistency that you might be experiencing in a relationship, for example, or the addiction that might be present in the life of a family member that you can't, you've thrown out the lifeline and they have refused to take it, are unable to take it, aren't positioned to take it. Sometimes the person that you're saving from drowning is yourself. And I know that. I just flew back from Midwest, we say Raleigh. A friend of mine was teasing me earlier, but they say Raleigh, North Carolina. And as you hear on the flights, they say before you go to put someone else's mask on, do what? Secure your own. So sometimes in our life and relationships, The person that we're saving from drowning is ourselves. And I'm hoping tonight, in resharing some of this content, that it will prick your hearts and minds about saving yourself and saving others from drowning. And certainly, before we save others, we must position ourselves to save ourselves. Thank you, Vicki Gail Beasley, for joining, and others that are joining. I hope you will click share and tag someone. This does include replay content, excuse me. And I think I am using it to hopefully spark your thoughts around how you can save someone who is on the periphery. And sometimes the saving is saving yourself. It's loving stuff. And I hope that you will click share, tag 5 of your closest friends, 5 of your more popular followers or subscribers to join us.
How does that go?
Some dating, this is where I am. And I could get in trouble because I know there's some people on this line. Anyway, well, let me say this. I'm at a point in my life where, and I'll tell y'all how old I am in a minute because I don't really care. I'm at a point in my life where I've come to know that I have really low expectations because I've been through too much. So I don't have any expectations. So the person who comes to me, for me, that's really going to be with me is going to have to come in a way where I know that what I really need is something you can provide. Okay? I need a person whose faith is strong, who can be a refuge, a human refuge. And if you can't be a refuge for me, then that's not a love and stuff for me. That's not a relationship that I need.
And I want to make sure I'm understanding. So it sounds to me like you don't have low expectations. You have high standards, but you don't expect very many people to be able to hit them.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's
you have a high standard because of what you've been through, but you don't think too many people are going to hit that mark.
Nope.
Okay.
And not because they don't want to, or not because, I don't care about you, but if I can't fall and know I'm caught.
Come on, caught.
And it has nothing to do with me being a big girl, but my life is big. So if I can't fall and be caught, then, then I can enjoy your company. We can go to dinner. We can go to the movies. We can hang out. We can do, but as far as letting you into that sphere, that sacred place, no. Nope.
No.
Because you're not you either are not capable of, or you're not willing to, or it's too much. Because for some people, it's just too much.
Mm-hmm.
Having to hold on, having to be there, having to deal with all of the stuff that comes along with being a woman in ministry. And Lord knows that's a whole nother workshop.
Mm-hmm.
You got to know that you can be okay, that when we get home, we can do whatever we need to do to affirm each other. But you can't trip on me in public. You can't go there. So if you're not strong enough to be that, then I'm not the one.
Mm-hmm. So what do you say to women? Because you've experienced a lot in relationships, as you've shared, and you seem to be on a firm foundation of rebuilding, finding out who you are, finding out your self-worth. Tell us some parts of those steps for people who haven't come to that determination that they're the common denominator in all of these relationships that aren't going well, male or female. How do you get to reconciling that you are worth that high standard, that high expectation, wanting someone to affirm you, wanting someone to understand your vocation in life, whether it's a holy vocation or otherwise, and being able to be the logical or natural partner for that. All of the things that makes you feel worthy of the expectation you set. How do you get there? How do you start going there?
I'm trying to go back because it was a process, and let's understand that it's a process that takes, for some people, a very long time, and it took me a long time. And for me, it happens experience by experience. You know, once that last situation was over, and I had to come to grips with me being the thing that's the common denominator between those two situations, then I had to say, okay, what is it? What is it about you that you feel like it's okay for somebody to treat you like this? It wasn't pretty. It was pretty ugly. But through it, I was able to say, I don't like this, this, and this. Why don't I like it? What are the circumstances that have brought me to the point where I don't like that? What in my life has taken me to this place where I don't think I'm worth this or this or this? And how do I get to a place where I feel like I'm worth that if these things that I don't like about myself never change? If I'm at a point where God says my grace is sufficient for you, can his grace be sufficient for me? Or am I still going to be chomping at this bit because I don't think I'm worthy? So I had to ask the hard questions, and I had to answer them truthfully. And once I could answer the questions truthfully, then I could begin the process toward healing. And I'm still in it. I'm closer than I've ever been before. But I think back and I ask myself, if you had come to grips with these self-worth issues 30 years ago, life would have been totally different. 20 years ago, you know, but that's not how it happened. This is. Okay? So, this is how it's happened, and God has done this for a reason. The experiences that I've had may have been just for this night. And I've got to understand that it might have been for the forum to say to others, this is what I've been through. Do the work while you can. You know, work while it's day. Work while you're in your 30s.
Yeah.
That you don't spend your 40s and 50s looking back saying, if only I had done this then. If only I had been able to look at my worth and not my wrong. You know, what is it that you can find in yourself that you love, that you really like? You know, no one totally hates themselves. So what is it about that you think is good?
Right.
And then accentuate your positive. Stay there. And it's only in accentuating your positive will you be able to work on the things that you consider negative. But if all you do is focus on your negatives, if all you focus on is I'm overweight, if all you focus in on is I don't have a good enough job, if all you focus in on is I don't have enough education, but you miss I'm gifted and I'm talented and I love people and people love me and I walk in a room and people know that I'm going to care about them. You focus on that stuff, then it'll make you make better choices about the other stuff.
That's awesome. We talked a few shows ago about the law of attraction, that like attracts like. And I think you are really confirming some of that for me, because I think when you're in the right place in your life, then you're attracting the right kinds of things to you. And when you don't pay attention to the things that you're attracting when you're not in the right place, which is kind of what you said earlier, you run into all of these challenges and issues. Now, God help us that we would have found that out in our 20s.
Did you say
right?
like attracts like?
Like.
K-E?
Yes.
Can I change your words?
Okay.
L-I-G-H-T attracts L-I-G-H-T.
Okay.
Because it's not just the like. Because darkness that's like can attract darkness, but it's not going to make you all right in the end. But light really does attract light. Zora Neale Hurston, and those who know me know this, I'm a Zora fanatic. In Their Eyes Are Watching God, Zora talks about how we were all born with all this light stuff, and then life came and threw mud on all of it, and broke it into pieces. But those little pieces of light kept trying to find each other, even through the mud. And that we do it. Light attracts light. If I'm walking in light, then the Bible is right. The darkness can comprehend it not.
Right. That's good.
Yeah.
Tamara Gaines has joined us. Craig Whitney Davis has joined us. Vernita McGuire has joined us.
And Reverend Preston is on here. And one of my older members, my seasoned member, she's on Facebook, everything. Miss Mildred Jackson is on here. Now this is...
Come on, Mildred Jackson.
2 years, so she could tell us some things.
Come on, tell us. Alicia Ross is here. Good. Thank you all so much for being a part of Love and Stuff. We're talking to Pastor Valencia Edner out of Houston, Texas, and she shared with us earlier about, I think, the miracle that God is in the midst of adverse situations, that God is always present to bring hope. And much more hope is needed on the road to recovery and rebuilding in Houston. We want to be a part of that, to help, to be God's agents of love and light, so that we can draw more light to the situation and that it needs recovery and rebuilding, regardless to zip code, regardless to status, class status. Everybody needs help. And so I thank you so much for being here and then sharing with your life lessons. So keep talking to us in this life lessons mode, because there are a lot of women and men who are in our Love and Stuff community who are in their 40s, some in their 30s, who didn't get these lessons earlier on, and who really are at a struggle point with that self-value proposition, with understanding that self-worth through all of the situations they're going through, not really coming to a resolve and not really coming to a place where you're comfortable with being who you are. So I know you said your process was ugly and it took some time. Talk to the people that just want to give up. It doesn't seem like you're getting anywhere in the process. What would you speak to them and say?
I am enjoying this memorable moment that I am bringing to you in the hopes that you will reflect and see yourself in it. And maybe if not yourself, that you will see someone else who needs to be saved from drowning, who needs to know that no matter how stressed out they are, how much in a mental crisis they are, how much in the midst of foreclosure they are, in the midst of impending strikes in the automotive industry, or gotten a pink slip, or grappling with inflation, or grappling in a relationship where they don't feel valued, that they don't have to drown, that there are options for them to swim, to float, and to get to shore. So I am so excited to share these pieces, because the Love and Stuff community is very intentional about providing information and inspiration that causes you to think about your love consideration. How are you loving God? How do you feel loved by Him? How are you loving and valuing yourself? And then ultimately, how are you measuring out, pouring out that love for others? And so tonight we have from a memorable moment with Dr. Valencia Etner, who is known in our Love and Stuff community as Mama V, just sharing from a time of reflection during the Houston hurricane and flood that happened a few years back, as you may recall, and some of the hurricanes in her own life. She shares transparently with us through um, relationships that had failure in them and had an addiction in them, and how she is walking in healing and recovery from them. And so I hope that you will click share and tag someone to join us in this closing segment, and drop in the comments, what are you gaining? What is resonating with you? And how can you be a lifeline, a safety vest, a partner in community to someone who you know is drowning? It would be a horrible thing for us to stand on the side of the pool and watch someone who we know can't swim, even if they think that they can. We see that they are drowning and we do nothing. Or even worse, if we don't lift our hands, our flailing hands, to say that we need help when we are overwhelmed, when we are exhausted, when we are angry, when we are frustrated, all in the name of just holding it in, and it'll be all right. It will when you ask for help. It will when you realize that you're part of community. It will be all right when you open your heart and mind to say that I'm open to the help that love offers to me. This is Love and Stuff, and this is the last segment. I hope that you will click share and tag someone to join and share in comments about saving someone, even yourself, from drowning.
I think that the place that you're trying to get to far too often involves another person. And who you really have to get to is you. And it sounds self-centered, and it sounds self-absorbed, and it is, but it's necessary. Because I cannot receive nor give what I cannot feel for myself. So you have to find a place where loving you becomes your priority. Whatever that takes. If that takes laying in the middle of the floor and screaming about all the mistakes you made, and if it takes writing everything down, and one of the things that I used to do a lot was do cost benefit analysis. What is this worth in my life? Is this worth this? What am I getting? If I'm not getting, if the cost is worth more than the dividends, then that's probably something I need to not be doing. Something I need to not engage in or prioritize for my life. And I mean, now I'm not talking about ministry. I'm not talking about the lives of people. I'm talking about the stuff we do to our own lives. How many times can you go out with somebody who never says anything that affirms you, who only talks about themselves for 2 hours? You can't do it. I mean, you have to not be there. You have to know that you're worth more than that. I love me too much to spend another 2 hours with you talking about you. Yeah, it costs more than the dividends, Carmen. Correct. Yes, Melvin. I know you had to learn it the hard way. Yes. So.
And how do you? Go ahead.
No. Go on. It'll come back.
So how do you get in the process? How do you know when you've gained ground? How do you know when you are rebuilding and out of recovery?
There's a line in, I can always find a movie line. A line in How Did I Get Married To? No, How Did I Get Married? At the very end, when they come back and Jill Scott is sitting at the table talking to the ladies, and her character says, when I wake up in the morning, I feel so much joy. It really had nothing to do with the guy. It had something to do with the empowerment, the ownership she had taken in her own life. So it didn't matter whether someone was there or not. When you wake up in the morning and you can feel joy about your life, whether it's attached to somebody else's or not, then you're getting there. Then you're truly getting there.
And it sounds like you are getting there.
I'm getting
And our
there.
prayers are certainly for,
Amen.
and our prayers are for you and for Houston, that Houston gets there as well.
Yeah, keep praying for Houston, and don't forget the Golden Triangle. A lot of times people hear Houston and they forget that just about 100 miles away from here, less than that, is Beaumont, Orange, and Port Arthur, which is called the Golden Triangle. And it's right before you get to Louisiana. And they were very, very hard hit as well. And so as you think of places that you might want to help, those places are not going to get bombarded with the amount that Houston has been bombarded with, and they really do need assistance.
And so would you suggest for those areas that we find people who are in those areas to help get resources to people in those areas? How do we reach those people?
I think that that you may be able to agencies that are there that may not be the Red Cross, maybe Catholic Services or those kinds of, and even those being in Houston as well, those who are part of the network, but they're not just the Red Cross, the Salvation Army, which are the heavy bureaucratic places. But I promise this little network here called Facebook can help you tremendously. Everybody who's in this area knows someone who's in need. And if they don't know someone that's in need, I wouldn't believe it for 1 minute. They do. And you can't trust everybody, and you know that. So you do it the way you must do it. You don't, you send it through some way that you can send it through an email or something. You use cash, or you use something else, or you use a place that you can send it, be it a church or some agency, and maybe earmark it for them, and they have to go by there and pick it up. You got to be smart about this. You don't want, there are always shiesty people who are trying to get your information. So just be smart, but don't make that stop you from giving.
Wonderful. Valencia Adner, thank you so much for joining us on Love and Stuff tonight.
And
you're part of our community, and so we love you dearly, and we're praying for you, and we're doing all we can in whatever ways that we can help you and the good people of Houston and Beaumont and the Port area, all of those areas.
And Orange, yes. Yes. So God bless you all, and it's been good. If you need to inbox me, Marcus knows how to find me, so we're good. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
What I hope that you've gotten from these pieces from a memorable moment from our vault is that there is an opportunity for you to be aware, to be slightly more aware in an environment where we are experiencing, for many, a living hell. So many people are facing what feels for them insurmountable trials and obstacles, loss of family members, dwindling health and new health challenges, the dissolution of marriages and relationships, the separation of parents and children and siblings, the loss of homes and jobs and livelihoods. People are in a mental health crisis. Barely, for some, able to hang on. Some are putting smiles on their faces daily, going through the motions. It's perfunctory for them to exist, but they're not really living. And you should be aware of high and low mood swings, inconsistency when it comes to keeping commitments and levels of work or performance, levels of energy or presence. Where you see those inconsistencies in and around your circle, speak up. You're standing in the gap for someone. You're giving voice, amplifying the voice of someone who feels small or insignificant. May be the tipping point to save him or her from drowning. And you, before you secure anyone else's life vest, before you blow it up, before you throw out the lifeline, do me a favor, make sure yours is secure. Do all that you can to recover, to heal, to be kind to yourself, to be grateful, to know that self-care is your gratefulness and your love speaking to your worthiness. You are worthy, and you need to be in a space of worthiness before you are rescuing anyone else. In the Love and Stuff community, we're about upping our love game. Whether you are focusing on your love game with God, the quintessential love, who loves you beyond words that could measure it, whether you are working at your love to Him with your mind, body, soul, and strength, whether you're working at the neglected love of yourself so that you can love your neighbor in the same fashion. It's time to move our love game up a notch. It's time to move the needle on love. And part of love is calling us to be aware of the mental plight, the physical plight, the emotional plight of those around us who are literally drowning in our presence. No, they aren't saying I'm drowning. No, they're not flailing their arms. They're not screaming. They're not kicking fast under the water. They're not gulping the water and choking. They're smiling. They smell good. They look good. They're dressed up. They're going to work every day. They're going through the motions, but they're drowning. And I'm asking you to be awakened, to be aware of them, that you might be a voice for them, a soft place to land, a place of comfort for them, a place of inspiration and strength for them, and a connector to resources like therapy that can help them. See, you and I are in a unique position in a world where there are strikes looming, both worker strikes and air strikes. There are talks of deals of arms and war and rumor of war. There are mothers and sons and fathers and daughters and mothers and daughters and fathers and sons that are at arms, killing and injuring each other. There are people taking leaps off tall buildings to their death. There are all types of things happening, inclusive of global warming. And you and I should be aware that love is calling us to stand up and to speak up for somebody is drowning. If that somebody is you, I want you to know that you have a whole love and stuff community with you, and you are not alone. Inbox us at Love and Stuff and just say, I'm drowning. And let us help you get the resources so that you can float and learn to swim until you're safely back to shore. It might mean we have to rescue you and pick you up as they might pick you up out of the water. It might mean that we have to get in and swim you to shore. But one way or the other will help you get the resources that you need to get back on track and live the life that you've been designed to live. I'm Marcus Holmes, the love activist. I'm advocating for a better love for you and me. And if that sounds like something you'd like to be part of, go to the Love and Stuff community page. Click the notification at the top, follow us so that we can get to know you and involve you in the great things that are happening inside of Love and Stuff. Speaking of inside, there is a community group called Inside of Love and Stuff. If you go to the page and look under groups, one of the groups that you can join there is Inside Love and Stuff. Another group there will be tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Darren Williams, who is a part of the Love and Stuff group. He is the leader and facilitator of Love and the Scriptures. And right now, he's talking and exploring this concept of the pillars of love. It's fascinating. You don't want to miss it. It's in half hour each Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And there's a Love in the Scriptures group connected to the page, as well as a sports talk with Kamau and Felix. That's right. We love more than just each other. We love sports too. And there are two fellas in our Love and Stuff sphere in our community who love sports. And if you don't believe me, go to the page and watch some of their content. They're excited about the work that they're doing. We're proud to have them as a part of the Love and Stuff family. They're on every other Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and their group is there, the Sports Talk group with Kamau and Felix. You can join it. It's growing as well. See, there are varying ways that we can go about our love and upping our love game, and most of them have to do with connecting to community. You're part of a greater community than just you, and you are not alone. I'm Marcus Holmes. I'm excited to be here. Join me next week at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as we go into a new season of Love and Stuff, and I hope to see you there. I thank you for your support. Be sure to go to our page and check out some of the content available and some of the products that are available in our Shopify store, all types of Love and Stuff gear, and there are a couple of new ebook products there. If you want to organize your life, there's a planner there, and there's a men's journal for the men who feel like you don't have anybody to talk to. I want you to journal about it. So you can go to that page and get any or all of those products. We'd be happy for your support. Thank you so much for joining us. Hey, Jay Gerald. And I appreciate everybody that's joining as we sign off at 9:54. Have a grateful evening. We will see you soon. Thank you so much for being here tonight and joining us.
Yeah.